Alrighty, I got my little hashtag made and I think we're ready to mount. See if I can get it in the right slot. There we go. Hashtag. Today we're going to make some Unakite wrapped hair combs, and this is how I make them for my online store. These are some rocks that didn't quite meet my visual requirements. It takes about a yard of wire. I use 24 gauge. This is copper, finished copper wire. And how I start out is by simply stringing on alternating nugget and seed bead. And for this 70 millimeter comb, which is about between 2 and 3 inches in length, it will take almost a foot of strung beads. So I find the easy way to do this is to string the beads first and then wrap the comb. This part can be a bit tedious, so I'll put you on speed here. Sometimes you get a bead that's been drilled really close to a corner, like this one has. I don't use these because they have a tendency to break right there. That little bead will be popping off and breaking, so I'll put it up here in my something else jar. Okay, I have about a foot of strung beads. Now I'm going to show you the secret. I take one of these combs. These are grip tooth combs. They're manufactured right here in the USA, and they're designed so that their teeth touch each other in the spaces between. And the good thing about that is that it helps hold your hair, whether it's long or short, or fine or heavy. So I attach my wire at the end, give it about 3 turns, and snip close to the coil. And where's my little helper? There. I have this pair of pliers that came in a jewelry making kit from probably Michael's, maybe Hobby Lobby or Joann's. And it's got a clipper and round nose and this little anvil part here, and then this hole here, which is handy. I lay the wire in the hole and pull that up tight. If you don't have that, it's no big deal, but see, that pushes your coil right up close there. You want to run your finger across there and make sure that cut end isn't out where it will bite anybody. So I'll turn that in a little bit better. And then we take and bring our stones down to the comb. Use a few more. I'm allowing gravity to help. And we started with the seed bead, so we'll end with the seed bead. Nope, we'll end with the nugget because it just looks better that way. And here at the other end, we come around the end, around that last tooth, pull it up, and wrap wrap your nuggets around to comb, like so. Sometimes I come back in between the space at this last tooth and wrap the wire around this way to keep this guy from falling off like a bra strap. And then we'll simply feed those nuggets on, a few at a time. Sometimes you'll get a nugget that wants to stick right where it is. I just tell them they're going to love being on a hair comb. You're going to love being on a hair comb. Everyone will admire you. There we go. Sometimes your wrap kind of outruns you. In that case, you can come around without bringing nuggets on. I go between every pair of teeth, like so. And this kind of work is where you really get to use your sense of color. You see, I'm working with Unakite that has this, the green and the salmon colored parts together. They just go beautifully with copper colored wire. So that's what we use for these. I've made other ones with golden wire or rust colored wire, but I think the copper colored wire is what looks best. Couple of places where I get my wire. One is Fire Mountain. Their zebra wire comes in a nice variety of colors, and if they don't have the color you're looking for in zebra wire, then you can look for Parawire. I'll put links in the description. Fire Mountain is actually carrying some Parawire, but only in the standard neutrals of gold, copper, maybe a couple of other colors that I don't remember right now. So we had a foot of beads strung on, and this is what we have left after covering the comb and then wrapping back. Now we'll come through not every pair of teeth, but every 2 or 3 teeth, and this is where we can maybe add another bead or 2, but this actually helps us get reinforcement wrapping. Sometimes you can get that wrapped in there so that it doesn't even really show very much. And when I get to about here, I will snip about 8, 9, 10 inches if I can get the cutters around the wire. There we go. And then this is where I might use my nylon jaw guys. I'll come up through underneath, like so, this way. and it's going to want to crimp a little bit, so I hold on to it here and pull it through here like so. All right, and sometimes I'll weave back and forth a little bit, but I think that right now we're good with our wrapping. So I'm doing this to give the wire just a little bit of a bend, and then I'm going to feed it through there. Doesn't have quite enough curl in it, so I will feed it through there and grab hold of it. And sometimes it's good to kind of guide it from the back end a little bit. There. We're basically just going to wrap a coil around here. That's going to be our tie off. And sometimes it's a bit challenging to see where everything is. I do at least 3 wraps, often more. There. And then you can trim it right back here if you want to, and sometimes I do, but in this case I'm going to trim it about here and coil it around and tuck the coil in. In fact, maybe even a little bit shorter, like so. I save all my copper wire scraps for a scrap bin that I may one day take to the recycler, or maybe melt off and reuse myself. I don't know. So there it is, coiled like so, and then I'll turn that and tuck that coil in like so. Run a finger across there, make sure there's not any little wires grabbing. And there is a beautiful Unakite comb.